When people around the world think of Canada, they often picture snowy mountains, endless forests, and crystal clear lakes. But what if we told you that beyond the beautiful landscapes, Canada is quietly becoming something much bigger? A global role model in the fight against climate change. Yes, in a world struggling with rising temperatures, devastating storms, and environmental crises, Canada is building a reputation as a country that not only talks about climate action, but also takes real steps to make it happen. But how did this image come to life? Why do so many countries look at Canada as an example of what climate responsibility could look like? And what does this mean for the future of our planet? Stay with us, because the story of Canada's role in global climate leadership is much more fascinating than most people realize. Before we dive in, we'd love to ask you to support this journey. If you enjoy exploring these big questions and hidden global trends, make sure to like this video, share it with friends, leave your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel. It only takes a moment, but it helps us grow and continue making videos that bring these stories to life for you. Now let's begin with the basics. Canada is one of the largest countries in the world, with a landmass so vast that it stretches from the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic and all the way up to the Arctic Circle. This size alone makes it a major player in the global climate conversation. Why? Because inside Canada's borders lie some of the world's greatest climate assets: endless forests that act as massive carbon sinks, huge reserves of freshwater abundant renewable energy sources, and an Arctic region that is warming faster than almost anywhere else on Earth. These natural features make Canada both a frontline victim of climate change and a potential global leader in finding solutions. But Canada's role as a climate model is not just about nature, it's also about policy and choices. For decades, the world has struggled to balance economic growth with environmental responsibility. Many countries have leaned heavily towards short-term economic gains, often at the expense of the environment. Canada, while not perfect, has been increasingly seen as a country trying to strike a better balance. Its government has introduced carbon pricing, invested in renewable energy, and promoted international climate agreements. These steps, while sometimes controversial at home, have made Canada stand out globally as a nation willing to take responsibility. Let's talk about carbon pricing for a moment. Few policies are more debated, but Canada has implemented one of the most ambitious nationwide carbon pricing systems in the world. The idea is simple: make polluters pay for the emissions they release, and use that money to support greener solutions and help citizens adapt. For many countries still hesitating to adopt such bold measures, Canada's example shows that it can be done on a national scale. It sends a message. If Canada, with its vast geography and resource-heavy economy, can do it, then others can too. Another reason Canada is admired globally is its renewable energy capacity. Did you know that about 2/3 of Canada's electricity already comes from renewable sources, mainly hydropower? While many nations are still struggling to move away from fossil fuels, Canada is already far ahead. On top of that, it has been investing heavily in wind, solar, and even next-generation nuclear technologies. This transition is not just about reducing emissions, it's about building a cleaner economy that can last into the future. Other countries watch this closely because it shows how a modern economy can stay competitive while also going green. Canada's Arctic region also plays a huge role in its global climate image. The Arctic is warming at more than twice the global average, and Canada's northern lands are experiencing this firsthand. Melting ice, changing ecosystems, and threats to indigenous communities make the stakes incredibly high. Instead of ignoring these challenges, Canada has made Arctic research and protection a central part of its climate strategy. This leadership is vital because the Arctic is not just Canada's backyard. It's a key part of the global climate system. What happens in the Arctic affects weather, sea levels, and ecosystems all over the world. But perhaps one of the most inspiring reasons the world sees Canada as a climate role model is its people. From indigenous communities who have protected their lands for generations, to young activists demanding stronger action, to scientists pushing the boundaries of clean technology, Canadians are shaping the global conversation. The mix of traditional knowledge and modern innovation is powerful. It creates solutions that are not only scientific, but also cultural and ethical. Many countries admire how Canada blends these voices into its climate strategy. Now, we need to be honest. Canada is not perfect. It still has a large oil and gas sector, and debates about pipelines and resource extraction remain heated. Some critics argue that Canada and yes, there are contradictions, just like in every other country. But here's the difference. Canada openly faces these debates. It does not shy away from admitting the challenges, and it continues to push for progress even when it's difficult. That openness itself is a model for the world. Imagine for a moment if every country followed a similar path. If each nation invested in renewables, priced carbon, supported its citizens through transition, and listened to both science and indigenous knowledge. The world would be in a much stronger position to face climate change. Canada shows that this vision is not just a dream, it can be a reality. Let's also think about influence. When Canada shows climate leadership, it doesn't just affect Canadians. Because Canada is part of major global groups like the G7, the G20, and the United Nations, its actions ripple outward. When Canada pushes for stronger climate commitments, it adds momentum to global agreements. When it invests in clean technology, those innovations spread to other countries. In this way, Canada acts as a multiplier for climate solutions. We can see this influence in partnerships too. Canada supports developing countries in adapting to climate change, funds green projects abroad, and works to bridge the gap between the global North and South. For many nations in Africa, Asia, and Latin America, Canada is seen as a fair partner that brings resources without the heavy strings that often come with aid from larger powers. This trust makes Canada's climate leadership even more powerful. Looking ahead, Canada's role as a climate role model could grow even bigger. As the world shifts toward a green economy, countries that can provide clean energy, sustainable resources, and innovative technologies will become global leaders. Canada has the chance to be one of them. Imagine Canadian hydropower lighting up American cities, Canadian critical minerals fueling electric cars in Europe, and Canadian research guiding global climate policy. This is not just possible, it's already starting to happen. Of course, this future is not guaranteed. It depends on choices made today. If Canada continues to invest in clean energy, protect its forests, respect Indigenous rights, and lead in international negotiations, it will strengthen its role as a climate model. But if it falls back on old habits of over-reliance on fossil fuels, it could lose credibility. The world is watching closely, and Canada's actions will speak louder than words. So why does the world look at Canada as a climate role model? Because it combines natural assets with bold policies, blends science with tradition, and leads by example on the global stage. It shows that even in a resource-heavy economy, progress towards sustainability is possible. And maybe most importantly, it shows that climate leadership is not about being perfect. It's about being committed, transparent, and willing to take real steps forward. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Canada can truly become one of the world's top climate leaders? Will its example inspire other nations to follow? Or will the challenges of oil, gas, and politics hold it back? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps us going and helps us bring more stories like this to life. Canada's role as a climate role model is just one chapter in the global climate story. And together, we'll keep uncovering the rest.